Bismillah ar-Rahman Rahim. Hello everyone and welcome back to the PL-300 exam preparation series where we are looking at the first learning path, prepare the data. In this video, we are looking at the topic select appropriate column data types, which is part of this section transform and load the data. Before we actually go into Power BI explore what are the different data types, it is important to understand that there are 5 types of data that you can encounter in BI reporting. The first being categorical, the second being ordinal, the third is quantitative, fourth is spatial, and the fifth is temporal. When we are talking about types of data in Power BI, then we are essentially talking about columns in the table. So any column inside a table would belong to any of these 5 types. The first type is categorical. So categorical type includes names, channels, currency codes, names of the customer, suburb, city, anything which represents a category is basically the categorical data type. The next one is ordinal. So ordinal is basically a special class of categorical data where the order or sorting matters. So like you have the days of the week, the days of the month, or different sizes like low, medium, high, or small, medium, and large. So in this kind of data, the order or the sorting is important, and this is the ordinal data type. The next one is quantitative. So any column which has numbers on which mathematical operations can be performed, like sum, average, multiplication, division, or some other operations like min, max, or some other statistical operations. This type of data is quantitative. Next, we have spatial. So spatial actually represents data that can be represented on a map. So it could be the longitude and latitude, the two coordinates that represent every point on a map. It could be the name of the country, name of a province, state, city, etc. So anything that can be represented on a map belongs to the spatial data type. And lastly, we have the temporal. So anything that belongs to date or time, or even both date and time, it belongs to the temporal data type. So now let's go to Power BI desktop and let's solve an end-to-end example. And in that example, we are going to look at the data types, and we see that how the data types in Power BI are related to each of the categories that we just saw in this slide deck. In this video and in the subsequent few videos, we are going to take on a real world data example, and this data example has been uploaded on the SharePoint site, and we are going to use this particular folder, clean, transform, and load the data, and we are going to perform certain operations. So for this particular video, we are going to have a look at the data types. If I go inside this particular folder, I have a PDF file here, instructions.pdf. So if I open this file, we have got end-to-end instructions, and we are going to perform all these instructions and see what kind of transformations can be done on raw data inside of Power BI and especially Power Query Editor. So now let's go to Power BI desktop and perform the stepwise operations as these have been listed in this PDF file. So I have opened up a blank Power BI desktop file, and now I'm going to follow the instruction.pdf file, and I'm going to perform all the instructions step by step, and we are going to focus particularly on the data types part of that particular instruction.pdf file. So here you can see that it says that open a new Power BI desktop file and complete the following steps. So these two steps we have to perform before actually doing anything on the file, because these are related to some of the settings inside of Power BI. So the first instruction here says that deselect the auto detect new relationships after data is loaded option in the data load tab. So let's go and set this option. Inside of Power BI desktop, I'm going to go in the file option, and then I'm going to click on options and settings, and then I'm going to click on options. So all the options which are related to a particular Power BI desktop file are shown here. So it would open up in a few seconds. And here you can see that I have a few options inside the global settings and a few options which are just relevant to this current file. I'm going to go into the current file options, and the first option I see is data load. And inside of data load, here you can see that we have a relationship area, and the third option here says auto detect new relationship after data is loaded. So as per the instruction, I just need to uncheck this particular option or deselect this particular option. Then the next instruction here says that make sure that the locale for import is set to English United States in the regional settings tab. So what is basically locale? So locale is the way the date is formatted. So there are different date formats in different countries of the world, but the most famous one is the English United States and the English UK one. So in US you have the format as having the month in the start, then you have the date, and then you have the year. Whereas in most other countries, including the UK, you have the date at the start, then you have the month, and then you have the year. So for this particular data set, we are going to set the locale for import to English United States. So here now I need to go into the regional settings within the current file option, and there the option says locale for import. So here for my particular file, the locale is already set to English United States. All you have to do, if this is something different, then just go and select English United States and then press OK, and now we are done with the changes as suggested in the instruction.pdf file. The next instruction in the file, it says that you need to save the Power BI desktop file. So I'm going to save it by giving it a name, like it is that example shown here. It says that give it the name Maven Market _ report, but you can give any other name. So in the Power BI desktop environment, you can just click on the save icon on the top left, or otherwise you can go inside of file and you can go and select the save option from there. So now I am going to save this file by giving it any name, like the name suggested, Maven Market _ report. So now you can see that I have saved this file as Maven Market _ report, and now I am going to go inside of Power Query Editor, because the rest of the stuff we are going to do in Power Query Editor, and we know from where we need to go into Power Query Editor. Just click on transform data and another window would open up and will take you to the Power Query Editor. Next, we actually want to focus on the data type part. So I am going to effectively just run through some of these steps very quickly, and we are going to come back and explain these steps in some of the next videos. But here the focus is to actually just explain the data type part. So I'm going to go and look at this instruction, and then I'm going to go and look at this instruction. So some of the steps are probably out of sync, or you can say somewhat different from what they are listed here, but I just want to focus on the data type part. So I'm going to just skip a few steps. So just follow the video and do what I will be doing in the Power BI desktop environment. So here in the Power Query Editor, first I'm going to go and click on new source, and I'm going to click on text/CSV, and I want to bring in the file which is in the folder that I just showed you at the start of the video. So the file that I am interested in bringing first is the Maven Market _ customers. So I'm going to click on open, and it will show me a preview in a few seconds. So here is the preview, and I'm going to just click here on. So this is the Maven Market _ customers file that has been brought into the Power Query Editor. Now I am going to do a couple of steps, but I won't be explaining why I'm doing this, but it would become clear in one of the other videos related to reference and duplicate. So what I'm going to do here right now is that I'm going to select this Maven Market _ customers query, then do a right click on this, and the first step I will do is that I'm going to uncheck this enable load option. So I'm just going to uncheck this enable load option. Then again I'm going to do a right click, and then here I am going to create select move to group and select this new group and give it a name, staging area or staging layer, whatever you want to give. So once I do this, then there is this structure, a folder structure that will be created here in this area. Now I am going to click on this Maven market underscore customer file, and then I am going to again press the right click on the mouse, and then I am going to click on reference option here. So what this reference actually does is that it creates a copy of the Maven market underscore customers query. So this is the copied version. It actually just creates a copy of this. So now I'm going to go and do everything on the copied version. So I'm now going to again right click on the copy version. Again, I'm going to go into the move to group and click on new group. And now I am going to create another folder or another area here, which I am going to say is the data model area. So now you can see that there is a data model folder that has been created, and the rest of the instructions I am going to now follow on the Maven market underscore customers file. Next, I am again going to bring the other file so that we can do the data type changing process on both files simultaneously. So I'm again back in the staging area, and again I'm going to click on new source, click on text/csv, and I'm going to bring now the Maven market underscore products file. So I'll just click on open, and it is going to bring the Maven market underscore products file, and it will be seen here in the staging area. Again, I'm going to repeat the same process that I did for the Maven market underscore customers file. I'm going to click on Maven market underscore products. Then I'm going to right click. First, I'm going to uncheck enable load. Then again, I'm going to do the right click, and then I'm going to click on reference to create a copy. And this time the copy has been created. So now I can just drag this copy into the data model area. So the point is that we actually do not do anything in the staging area. Whatever we want to do subsequently, we just create a copy, and then the steps would be performed on the copied version. So now we are going to focus on the instruction for the customers table. So here it says that just rename the query. So the query that we just created as a copy in the data model area, we are going to rename that at customers, and then we are going to confirm that the data types are accurate. So now we are going to look at the data type. So it says that the customer ID should be whole number, and both customer account number and customer postal code should be text. So now let's go and do this. So now I am in the data model area, and I have selected the Maven market underscore customers query. So you can change the name of the query by either double clicking on this particular name of the query in this area, or instead you can go on the query settings area and you can just change the name here. So both ways the process is the same. So I've used the query settings area, and I have renamed the query from the original name to customers. Now I'm going to have a look at the data type. For any column in your query or in your table, you are going to see that every column here has an area on the left which has these 1, 2, 3 or ABC written. So if you just click on this area, these are the data types that can be set. So these 4 decimal number, fixed decimal number, whole number, and percentage, this represents the quantitative data type. So remember, we saw that the quantitative means that any number. So these are all the possibilities for a number. Then we have the date time option. So the temporal data type, so we can change the data to date time, or date time zone, duration. So these are the options for the temporal. For the categorical, the option that we have is text, which is represented by this ABC. And then we also have a couple of others which are used not very often, but you must know that there is another option which says true false. So if you have some kind of a column where you have a true or false flag, you can just go and set that to true false. Or if a binary value, a binary means if you have a column where you have 0 or 1, just 0 and 1 as the possible records or values in that particular column, then you can use the binary data type as well. So now we can just go and change the data type. So as per the instructions, the data type for customer ID should be whole number. So here it is already whole number. We do not need to do anything here. Next, we need to change the customer account number to text. So here it is set as a decimal, as a whole number. So why it is set here as a whole number? So once you load the data into Power Query, so once you connect your data source to the Power Query, then Power Query itself tries and detect the data type. So based on the best knowledge of Power Query, it detected the data type as a whole number, which probably is correct because all the values here, if you see that these are just numbers, but customer account number is something that we do not want to save as a number, because a number represents a quantitative data type, and for quantitative data type, the Power BI engine, it tries to aggregate that column. So we do not want the customer account number to be aggregated. By aggregation, I mean that any mathematical function can be applied on this column, which by default is the sum function. So we do not want that our customer account number should have an aggregation, because although mathematically this is possible, but logically does not make any sense. So what I need to do is I need to just go and change this data type into text. So I just selected this and changed it into text. And similarly, we have another data column, which is customer postal code, that again has the data type set to whole number, and I just need to go and change this into text. So these were the three columns that were there in the instructions, and we have changed the data types of these three columns. Next, we have the Maven market product. So now here I'm again looking at the particular instruction relevant to the data types. So here we need to first change the name of the query, and then the columns that we are interested are product ID, then product SKU, and the product retail price and product cost. And it says that the product ID should be whole number, product SKU should be text, product retail price and product cost should be decimal number. So let's go back to Power Query Editor and change these data types and check whether the Power Query Editor has detected these correctly or not. Now I'm back in Power Query Editor, and I'm going to just change the name of the query. So it said that you just need to change the name to products. So I have changed the name of this particular query to products. And now the first column that we are looking at is the product ID. So it says that the product ID should be whole number. So it is whole number. But based on the logic that we discussed in the customers table, you must be thinking that why are we putting a whole number as data type for the ID column? Because an ID column again has no significance if we say that we should not have a whole number on a column where we do not want an aggregation to be applied. So, but if we keep this as a whole number, then an aggregation would be applied. But this is a special case of having data type as a number, because this is an ID column. So we are going to take a deeper look at the ID column once we are looking at relationships. So just keep this in mind, that we try to keep the ID columns, the columns that are used as an ID for the table, as whole numbers. Then the next one was product SKU. So again, the product SKU is represented by numbers, but again we do not want to keep this as a number, and we want to change this into a text, because all of these represent categorical data. Then the last two columns are product retail price and product cost, and as per the instruction, these should be decimal numbers. So this is a decimal number, and this again is a decimal number. So both of these are decimal numbers. One thing you might have noticed, that once I change the data type of this product SKU from a whole number to a text value, a change type step was added here in the applied step. So for every operation that you do inside this area, every step that you perform, there is going to be a step added here, and you are also going to see something in this area, something which you can see on the top in the formula bar, and this actually represents the M script that is generated in the at the backend. So M stands for mashup data. So we are going to look at M functions in detail in some other videos, but just to give you an idea that this is basically the M script that is generated for any step that we performed in the Power Query editor. One thing that you might be seeing or might not be seeing in your system is the area down here where the data is shown. So do not worry about this particular option. So you can just uncheck this option if it is already selected. Just click on view and then you would have an option called column profile. So ideally it should be unchecked. So this should be the view that you would be seeing. But in case you are seeing something, then just go into view and uncheck this particular option. So in this video, we discussed about the data types. We just looked at what are the possible data types that could be there in Power BI, the five broad categories, and then we saw that how we can change the data type inside of Power BI. And most important thing was that we need to remember that for the categorical data, we always want to keep the data type as text, because we do not want the categorical data to be kept as a whole number, because then the the property for the quantitative data type is that Power BI tries to aggregate the values in that particular column, and we do not want that to happen. So just remember these 2-3 points. This was probably a long video, but this was important because now it sets the tone for rest of the operations that we are going to perform using the instruction.pdf file. So I hope that the data type changing process and the importance of data type is now clear to you. So that's all for this video, and I will see you in the next one.